Fox smothering Brunson and a foul. The two stare at each other.
And Brunson doesn't say anything, he just stares.
Recently, backstage video of Rick Brunson and Darren Fox having a good time was released. And when I say that this thing went viral overnight, I'm not kidding. We are discussing a situation that could have gone much farther than it did, including shoving and verbal exchanges. Additionally, Fox's father intervened and said to Brunson, "You're not tough." Right now, I'm not even lying to you. I'm going to break down everything, so stay tuned to the very end of this video. What took place, the reasons for it, the background of these two, and the real implications for the future. You guys aren't prepared for this one. Now let's get started. Okay, gang, let's set the situation before we even get to the video and the altercation. You really don't understand why emotions were running so high if you didn't watch Game 2. Why players were getting in one another's faces is beyond comprehension. You have no idea why the situation got so bad that we are now sitting here discussing it. Because context is crucial, and you would be missing half the tale if I simply showed you the footage without discussing what preceded it. Allow me to clarify. The second game was electrifying, and I mean it literally. You could sense the energy of this game via your screen, from the jump ball until the last bell. Each team knew exactly what was at stake when they entered. Guys weren't coasting, preserving their legs for back-to-back games, or protecting their minutes in a typical season game. This was basketball in the postseason. Everyone on their court knew that this was the kind of game where legacies are written, reputations are created, and guys either show up or get exposed. The audience was going nuts. It was the kind of place where the hairs on the back of your neck stood up. Every time there was a big play, a steal, a dunk, or a disputed three that banged in, you could hear it. The audience went insane. Guys start playing with a level of passion that you don't see in October, November, or even December when the building is shaking and the crowd is locked in. This was a completely different beast, and the game was on a different level. These men were fighting every shot as if their lives depended on it, holding, banging, and setting hard screens. To be honest, the referees were making a lot of mistakes, which only made things worse. Players sense when referees in a postseason game swallow their whistles. They begin to believe they can get away with more. They begin to push the envelope. And in Game 2, that's precisely what was taking place. Both clubs were taking advantage of the aggressiveness as players were getting away with things that would have been foul in January. It was everything, unadulterated playoff basketball. That is the atmosphere that we are discussing. The stage is that. Rick Brunson and Darren Fox were placed in that kind of pressure cooker. Now that you are aware of the atmosphere and the nature of the game, let me explain what Brunson was doing on the court, since it is a crucial component of this puzzle. This is where things start to go wild. Chad, are we shocked that Brunson's direct up-cooking caused this beef to start? That's precisely what was taking place. Rick Brunson was not merely playing well, and I urge you all to realize this. Everyone was talking about what he was doing out there. He was running the offense precisely as his team needed him to, hitting shots, getting to the line, and doing it in a way that irritated people. To be clear, Brunson plays with an advantage. He doesn't play passively. He has no intention of making friends. His aggressive, forceful, and confrontational style of play tends to irritate opponents. Confrontation is inevitable when you get into buckets, engage in physical contact, and converse at the same time. Brunson was performing all three. What if I told you that Brunson was actually forcing the other team to make choices they didn't want to make? That's exactly what was taking place. There was an issue each time he got the ball. He was pulling up and draining it if you allowed him room. He was placing the ball on the ground and moving to your desired location if you got up on him. He possessed the ability to locate an open man if you attempted to trap him. He was causing the defense to suffer, and more significantly, Darren Fox in particular. Fox is among the fastest players in the NBA, which is why you are witnessing this. This guy has real star power and is a certified bucket getter. He's been one of the league's most captivating players for years, so when Brunson starts acting any way he pleases, Fox feels under pressure. The strain of knowing that your team depends on you to solve this problem is just as much as the pressure of the game. The stress of knowing that this game could end if you can't find a means to slow this person down. You are affected by that kind of pressure. Mentally, particularly throughout the postseason. In order to make things more difficult for Brunson, Fox begins applying a little pressure, becoming a little more physical than normal, and attempting to use his length and athleticism. Because Brunson is not one to back down, tension begins to develop at this point. He pushes back when you push him, and you get in his face and he gets back in yours. As a player, that is simply who he is. And that confluence of personalities, styles, and competitive fire was about to explode. This is when it gets crazy, bro. Because there was more than one play in the build-up. It wasn't a single instance in which things became tense and then subsided. It was a result of accumulation. Play after play, possession after possession. It was getting hotter between Brunson and Fox. Little shoves in the post, little shoulder bumps off the ball, comments being said that the cameras caught but the mics couldn't fully pick up. It took some time for this to boil over. Alright, gang, let me explain what transpired in detail. Additionally, a lot of the reporting and online conversations have been confusing or omitting information, so I will be specific here. I also want to ensure that you have the complete picture. Everyone is currently going crazy over the film that went viral because it depicts De'Aaron Fox engaging in inappropriate physical contact with Rick Brunson. We are not discussing typical playoff physicality. We are not discussing a competitive box-out or a hard foul. We are discussing Fox's direct, physical shoving of Brunson. The kind that causes the audience in the arena to go silent for 30 seconds before they begin to buzz. The kind that raises both benches. Every player on the court feels this way because they are all aware that the game has now moved from being competitive to being personal. And Brunson responded. To his credit, he didn't lose it entirely. He confronted Fox. They spoke to each other. At one point, it truly appeared as though this could turn into something far worse than the show. They're both hot. They are both in the midst of a fierce playoff match. At this moment, the two players have been fighting for almost the whole game. And it's on the edge right now. Not a cap. The entire clip depends on just one moment. Because what transpires next is what turned this from a contentious playoff moment into a topic that people are discussing and sharing worldwide. Fox's father intervenes. Fox's father intervened and allegedly informed Brunson. This has been widely publicized, and the video backs it up. You're not tough. I'm telling the truth. You're not tough, the man remarked, giving Brunson a direct look. That is one of the cruelest things you can say to a professional basketball player during a playoff game. I don't know about the rest of you. Because Brunson's toughness has been the foundation of his entire reputation. That's everything about him. He is a tough-as-nails basketball player, a blue-collar worker, and a lunch pail. And now someone is telling him directly that he lacks toughness. God, oh God. The fact that the problem was ultimately stopped from getting worse is what matters in this case. Officials, staff and players from both teams intervened to ensure that this didn't escalate into something that may have led to suspensions, ejections, or worse. To be honest, I'm grateful for it because it appeared to be moving quickly sideways for a brief moment. However, the footage doesn't lie, and you can see every single part of it, which is why this tape has been performing so well. The thrust is visible. Brunson's response is seen. The exchange of words is visible. Fox's father is clearly getting involved. As everyone rushes in to try to settle things down, you can see the turmoil. It's one of those videos that you watch 3 or 4 times because you find it unbelievable. Additionally, you learn something new each time you watch it. That is truly insane. Are you all seeing this? Are we shocked that this went viral, chat? And after that. Alright, so this is why I want to share something that I believe is underreported in internet conversations. And that is the historical question. Because it normally doesn't happen overnight when something like this occurs between two gamers and things get this intense and fast. Usually, there's something beneath it. Usually, there is a backstory, a history, and a reason why this specific matchup carries this particular charge. So allow me to explain it to you. What is the truth regarding De'Aaron Fox and Rick Brunson's relationship? More significantly, what might have led to the intensity of this particular altercation? Let's start by discussing Rick Brunson's background, the league, and this circumstance. Because Brunson is a seasoned player with extensive experience in and around NBA basketball. His son, Jalen Brunson, is currently among the top point guards in basketball, and he himself participated in the league. Rick Brunson is knowledgeable about the game. He is aware of competitive fire. He knows what it is to play with passion. Additionally, he has had a front-row seat to elite basketball at the top level due to his son's success. Thus, he is not unfamiliar with the intensity of the postseason. This man is not going to be easily shaken. Then there is De'Aaron Fox, one of the league's best point guards. A man who has spent years attempting to demonstrate that he is the type of player who can lead a team through the playoffs and into a championship. He has faced difficulties along the way. There have been years when the outcomes fell short of the high expectations, which leaves you with a persistent sense of insecurity, intensity, and, I have something to prove, energy. The emotional temperature is already going to be high when you pair a player like Fox, who is playing with that chip, participating in a major playoff game, and feeling the pressure of the moment, with a player like Brunson, who is physically aggressive and making his life miserable on the court. You're essentially kindling a fire and waiting for someone to spark a match when you include in the audience, the stakes, and the fact that the game is close and every possession counts. There may not be many recorded public occurrences involving Fox and Rick Brunson specifically in the past. However, rather than making something less interesting, that almost makes it more. Because it's not always about a long-running feud with receipts and documented moments. Occasionally, the accumulation of a single game is the focus. Sometimes two rivals simply get under each other's skin in real time, and things get out of hand more quickly than anyone anticipated. And the video indicates that's precisely what took place in this instance. When you think about it, bro, that's very crazy because this wasn't planned. Fox did not arrive at the game with the intention of attacking Brunson. This was genuine, organic, and involved two fiercely competitive individuals pushing each other's buttons in a high-stakes setting until something broke. And part of the reason it feels so painful when you watch the tape is that it happened so organically and truthfully in the middle of a playoff game. I want to discuss what this confrontation actually reveals about De'Aaron Fox as a player and a competitor because I've seen a lot of opinions online that either portray Fox as a villain for pushing Brunson or as a hero for standing his ground. I know you're not prepared for this next section. Both of those perspectives, in my opinion, ignore the main point. In reality, the Fox versus Brunson scenario demonstrates that Fox is a man who sincerely cares about winning and occasionally